on, so hopefully it's not too loud. All right. Can you guys see my screen first of all?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to actually walk you through kind of each step of the process, talk about some of the changes we made to hopefully increase visibility, increase kind of quick decision making, hopefully make things easier for you guys moving forward. I know there have been a lot of things tracked over the last year or so to help make things better. We tried to get as much as we could of what could be done into the solution. As Shane mentioned, this actually is development. So this is not even in system test yet from an official testing standpoint, so it is very raw. But the reason we wanted to have you guys in early was once we're done kind of showing all these areas, if there's any major misses or any major pieces that you guys see that you say, hey, we absolutely need this thing or it's not worth it, you know, that kind of information is really helpful at this point, as opposed to waiting till UAT in 2 weeks where we wouldn't have time to probably get anything in. So I'll start you guys off with PRs to be assigned. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with this page. Big updates here. We have added requester, total amount, and the requisition submitted date. The logic and the reason why we've done this is if you have a requisition that was submitted a month ago that just got into your PR to be assigned bucket, you might want to work that faster, right? So you can quickly sort between these values to grab kind of the lowest end, if you'd like, to move around. Not only that, you can see the requester for anybody you know needs to get things expedited. You can easily do that. We're working on getting some searches done as well to be able to filter by requester. Entity has always been there, the ability to break it down by entity. And of course, my favorite one, and it took us a little while to figure out, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the coding side of this, just so you guys have an understanding, is the total amount for the requisition. So you can easily see what the total amount is before you assign it out. So with this, and I want to just hop into a rec to show you guys where and kind of what's happening when we're doing this. So as you all know, for most requisitions, unless you're using buyer inbox, once you submit, you cannot update any of the lines until you get into buyer team. So at this point, we're effectively grabbing a snapshot of the total amount. So now this is why I want to be very clear with how it's working currently. When you move into buyer team can make a lot of changes. The total amount is not going to be reflected in that situation because it's effectively a save to another object was the only way we could get it to calculate. So again, on the PRs to be assigned, it's not an issue because you will have already, nothing could have changed before it got into buyer manager, but it at least gives you an idea of the amount at this point in the workflow before it's been assigned. I'll get into the buyer team side and talk a little bit about that as we go through. But the idea is effectively, even if you kick it back to buyer manager, if it's denied and goes all the way back to draft and comes back through, it's grabbing a snapshot every time it hits buyer manager of what the total amount is, again, to help with the decision making of assigning out these requisitions. So for the PRs to be assigned area, I do want to talk a little bit about when we actually assign. As Shane mentioned, we're not changing anything in the process, but this workload section, you guys have asked for an easier way to get to that, and I do want to just show you just a quick peek of the workload page. We've actually added a button that shows the exact same widget, if you will, so you can easily get to it on this new page. You don't need to navigate in to assign a rec to see this workload. It's the same logic, same everything, so you can quickly see what is out there to be assigned. Let me cancel this. Back in. So for the PRs to be assigned page. This is more for administrative, so more for Shane, any AEs on the call that are curious. If you are an admin and you need to be able to see more, you can uncheck that box. For those of you who are not admins, you cannot uncheck that box. But the idea is you can get an overview and easily be able to see all PRs to be assigned, just like we always have. And we actually implemented very similar functionality on the workload page. I'm going to talk a little bit about the PRs assigned by me and to me real quick, because we made some minor tweaks here that I can talk about quickly before we get to the bulk of this demonstration, which is that workload page that I kind of teased a little bit. So PRs assigned by me, again, you get that requisition submitted date. So when you are looking at everything that's been assigned by me, the manager, I can see how long a requisition has been since it was submitted and be able to sort by that. We've also added an assignment age. Now, this has a little bit of complexity to it. I'm not going to get too much in the details, but basically every morning at around 5:30, we're running a job that looks at when it was assigned and compares it to what today's date is. And that calculates what the age is. So basically, if you are online before 5:30, your ages might look a little funny, but hopefully most of you are not on before 5:30. The job will run, it will update, and you will kind of be able to sort by this as a value. This isn't the best example since they're both 0. I created these today. Again, this will hopefully allow you guys, when you come to this PRs assigned by me, to quickly be able to sort. If you see something that's been sitting and assigned or been assigned, or the age is 10 days, you can quickly get in and see, or go into the item and pull it back. Again, this is development, so I don't have a pullback, but the reset assignment button that you guys are somewhat familiar. Similar to that, on the PRs assigned to me, same things were added, right? So
may I ask a question real quick, or do you want us to hold to the end?
Sure, you can ask questions.
Can anybody reassign now from the screen?
Reassign, no. So as of right now, the way the kind of reset assignment works is only the manager who assigned and the person who is assigned to can send it back.
Is that planning on changing? Because that's actually a pretty big problem for us.
Again, that's more in the flow of queue management on how it works. It's something we can definitely look at, but in terms of this enhancement, it won't change.
Can everybody view the screen now, though, or only the manager that assigned these?
Only the manager who can assign these. But that's what the workload page is going to hopefully resolve, and I'll get to that. That shows everything, so you can easily see.
So we will still be able to see it, just not on the screen.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Oh, also the keywords search, it doesn't work for the rec number. Was that ever fixed? Because the ID number is only visible to the person that assigned the recs. And when a buyer needs it reassigned, they have no idea what the ID number is. And that's the only thing that works in the keyword search. So it's basically useless.
Yeah, the keyword's only fine looking off of this.
Yes, and you can't search by the rec number. So we have like pages and pages of recs. And the only person that knows that ID number is the person that assigned the rec. So he can't search for it because he doesn't know the ID number that we need reassigned. You know what I mean? There's no way to search for the rec number.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we should take a look at that as a different issue. But yeah, again, it's not really being tracked as part of this particular enhancement. Here assigned to me, again, looks very similar. You can see who the buyer is, who the requester is on the requisition, submitted, how long it's been there, status, and when it was assigned. So again, just a few more columns to help with the decision making of what to work next. But the big meat and potatoes is this workload page. And this is where we're really getting into a lot of the hopefully making things easier, give you that visibility, especially across multiple different organizations. where you may run into a situation where you have access to multiple different organizations. So for my development user, again, I have access to the Department of General Services and Virginia Retirement. So if I want to look at everything that's in General Services, I can add a tag in here. You can see all the retirement services went away. And then if, again, as an admin, I want to pull it back even more and see, I can remove all the organizations and general services, and this is going to be a list of absolutely everything across the entire solution. Again, most of you on this call are going to be living in the world of my organization and your scope assigned to your user, but hopefully this is kind of what you're looking for, and we can take a look at the rec ID. Curious. Yeah. So this is probably the same problem you're seeing, right? When you put in the rec ID, it's not actually pulling a value back. So
Right.
we can take a look at
Thank you.
this page and seeing what we can do here to update that. So you can quickly go to a rec. But this page, as I mentioned, we have this workflow overview. This button is really just that pop-up that we get anytime you're assigning out a requisition that gives you the quick count of everyone, all buyers in your realm or in your scope that you can see, and how many things they have assigned to them. This button is not going to update based on the filters you choose on this page. This is just a quick way, instead of making another page with just a little table, we gave a button that does a pop-up, right? It's just a little different way to see it and get to it quickly, so you don't have to get area. But again, this is the quick view of the count. You could just as easily come in, and if you wanted to look at things that were assigned to me, you can see everything where I am the buyer, right? And quickly be able to get to that information, remove it, kind of look as you need to, and kind of break up the data. Big things here: requester, the buyer who it's assigned to. I need to check this because I think this is actually the manager who assigned it, but I'll take a note to review that on our side. Like I said, this is still early development, but the idea being you can see submitted. If I want to be able to sort by assignment age, we made it able to filter to grab anything that's been sitting for too long, to be able to come in to reset the assignment. Let's see, we've got requisition assigned date. I'm probably going to move some of these columns around per the design a little bit. It's kind of little mix and match, but really the big information here is you can get to everything you can see in your scope much easier. You can access it. You have easier access to get to the IDs to be able to reset these assignments. If you are the manager who can reset it, or the buyer who can reset it. Additionally, you have the ability to search by more areas. So if I'll use VCCS as an example. If you're looking for a particular community college, you can filter everything by a certain community college instead of looking at everything in your world, and really hopefully help kind of make decisions easier, make overview easier. Because right now it's a lot of you just assign it and kick it out the door and hope that it gets done, which I know is real tough from a visibility standpoint. So again, this is development, so there's still things we're working through. I'm still shaking it down. Just in the last day, we've made a lot of tweaks and changes. So one of the things, like I said, I'll be looking at is making sure these filters are working, which part of that should also be the keyword search, making sure that that's working appropriately. I'll see what I can do about the other pages. Can't make any promises, but just within the scope of this work, being on this brand new page, we might have a little more flexibility on there. But yeah, in terms of a demo, that's really all I have to show you guys because it's a lot of really just different ways, new ways of viewing and organizing uh, your day to day. So I kind of, Shane, I'll kind of pass it back to you real quick if you want to add anything, and then we can open it up for any kind of discussion or questions.
Sure. So we had a couple questions here come in through the chat, and I'll just read them out. I think we got some answers to them, but it's just worth repeating them and then answering the questions. So from Kematala, State Police, will all buyer managers be able to see that workload screen, I'm assuming? And can we see things assigned by other managers? And that is true, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes and yes.
Great. So it's that new workload screen you'll be able to get. So you're seeing the entire workload across your entire environment and see things assigned by other managers. So that's what this new workload screen, and that would be one of the new things that would be coming in. And then we got a couple here. It would be very helpful to have the ability to reset assignment. If a buyer is out due to illness, the rec cannot be reassigned until they get back. Now, from this workload screen, if you are the manager who did the assignment, you can reset the assignment, correct?
Yes. Let me go into here.
Okay. And then the next thing is, can buyer manager reset it after it has been assigned to a buyer? Yes.
Yes.
But I thought you said that only the person who assigned the order can reassign it?
Yes. So if you are the person who assigned it, you are the manager for that.
Oh, okay. So not all people in the role, just that specific
Correct.
manager. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, is that something that's kind of across the board with everyone that they have issues with?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, if somebody's out, it's really hard to get these reassigned because only one person can do it at the moment.
And that's
Okay.
just kicking it back, right, into that buyer manager node to come back into this PRs to be assigned page.
Yeah, and then we'll just reassign it from there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's helpful for us because we have different teams that work on different commodities. So one manager manages one team and one manager manages the other. And if there's an accidental assignment to the wrong team, no one really picks up on that until someone says something. So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
same's here.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll take a look and see if I can make any magic happen. No promises, but I'll take a look.
Okay, thanks, John. Good feedback, guys. This also coming from Aaron, who has asked a few questions. Aaron's from George Mason. I'll rephrase it. Who can see the workload screen? Is that going to come up for everybody or just buyer managers?
So as of right now, it's the exact same as PRs to be assigned, but only buyer managers can interact with this page or do anything. Actually, there really is no action that can be taken from this page. So everyone can see it, but you can't do anything with it unless you are a manager.
Unless you are a manager. Okay, so from a visibility standpoint, anybody that's working in the QM, buyer, manager, or buyer team member can see this, but it's only the manager who could click into a particular transaction and reset the assignment.
Or the buyer, yeah. In this
Gotcha.
case.
Oh, well, yes, if it's your assignment.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
So the buyer being able to reassign, that's new, right? We couldn't do that before. It was only the manager that assigned the order.
Yeah, so and that's something I'll have to review as well, because
Okay,
we had it for a while and then we turned it off. Is that, and again, with everybody on this call, it's probably easier to just kind of ask the question, do you guys only want managers to ever be able to send it back? Like, let's say we gave all of the managers for a particular queue management item the ability to pull it back. If that was in place, would you ever want or need or allow the buyer themselves to kick it back as well?
I guess if
Jamie.
any manager could do it, we would be okay with that. But it is nice having the buyer be able to do it if only the one manager that assigned the rec is able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, JMU would like at least for any of the managers to be able to do it, but we do have times when managers are out that buyers need to move orders around in EVA.
Okay. And do you guys move them around from the buyer? Just out of curiosity.
Typically not really. Sometimes the buyer just unassigns it from, or in old EVA, we used to just unassign it from ourselves.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Then yeah, I'll take a look at that and see if I can do anything there. But it sounds like as long as the managers can do it, the buyers are. Is there any reason the buyers can't or shouldn't be able to? And this is more anybody that's saying, if I assign it to a buyer, they have to work it. They
I
can't.
think as long as there's an audit trail of some sort that we know that they clicked the button, then totally fine for the buyer to be able to do it.
Yeah, John, I'm getting enough feedback in the chat that I think pursuing the allowing all managers to be able to do reassigning seems a little safer.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the approach I push first.
Yes.
And then leave it at that for now, and we'll see how that if we can get it in, right? See how that works, and then if we need more later or to open it up for individual buyers, we'll look at that next. But I think kind of to everyone's point, the manager makes sense, right? To allow for multiple managers so that you can actually use this screen instead of just looking at it, right? If we implement that change.
Great.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
We need to, Jeremy had a couple up there about the queue. I think there was one up above that too.
Oh, there was.
Well, there's two right there.
Great questions, and they're very similar. So John, from Teresa Anders and from Jeremy Good, it's really around when this goes live, what happens to recs currently in Queue Manager, and then kind of as maybe a similar question or kind of tied to that. Will we need to have our queue cleared before we go live for any reason, or will this kind of go in and things will just transactions will just fit into the new screen?
So this is why I actually showed this page exactly like this. You see these old guys from 8, 9, all the way. They don't have an age or a total amount or assigned. It'll look just like this. But as new ones come in, they start getting that information. So when we actually go live with this, there's no early work that needs to be done, nothing that needs to be changed. Your data will just start populating cleaner moving forward from that date.
Okay, so there will be a little bit of a transition period as the older transactions will not have the level of detail on the workload screen that the new transactions will have once we go live with this.
Yep.
Okay, but I could still take an old transaction and click into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
nothing about the
take
functionality
action
has
on it.
changed. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And additionally, if we do work out this manager fix with the workflow, then that would be only for new transactions that have come through the queue from that day on. So nothing retroactively will work like that, because I could get into all the technical reasons why, but really it would only be any new transactions coming through. Okay,
great. We got a question from Becky Klein. What about a discussion about additional routing for approvals after QM? We have had some discussions about that. It was in the IHE meeting we did, I guess the October meeting where we talked to you guys. And also I think I brought it up in the bug meeting as well. We are absolutely still moving forward with those plans, Becky. But that's not coming as part of this November, December release. That that is a schedule change because we've introduced a little bit of complexity on that side. So we need a CGI, our teams need a little bit more development time around that. So we will be following up right now. The tentative schedule is February of 24. And so when we come back from the holidays, we'd likely, be talking about that. And we'll keep you guys posted on the schedule for that one. And then from Cliff Shore, can all dollar amounts in the total amount section be reflected as currency with commas and $sign?
Probably. I'll have to look into that. I have a feeling.
So formatting.
Yeah, I'll have to see if we can, because the way it's stored right now is just purely a decimal value. So I'll have to see if we have any flexibility to show that. I'll let her know.
Okay, great. Thanks for looking into that. Good questions, everybody. Appreciate your feedback. Any other questions?
I did
Michelle
have
asked about.
one question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think that was Aaron. Let me knock out Michelle's question real quick. Release date. Assuming this all goes as planned. Tony, do you know the UAT and the production date for these?
December 14th, I believe.
All right, so the production date's December 14th, and then the UAT, John might know the UAT date better than I do.
I'm pretty sure it's November 14th. Pretty sure.
November 14th.
Or the for 20.
And that'd
yeah,
be the
somewhere
first
there.
cut. So basically everything we're putting in is the first cut from dev into system test to be tested. I'm sure we will find things. I'm sure there will be bugs, and then we'll be fixing it. But we wanted to get it in UAT as quickly as possible in any form so that you guys can see and play with it, and then just know that tweaks will be coming before we go into production.
Great. And guys, what I'll do for everybody on this call is you are the individuals and entities on this call, the individuals representing these entities. You guys are our queue management users. I mean, you guys are the group of entities and individuals that are the queue management users.
March 12, 14.
Yeah, so right now, UAT date would be November 14th. Prod date would be 12/14. So, and then I can also send, what I was going to say is I can also shoot you guys a note because I know you all are interested in this. When it hits UAT, I can let everybody on this call know that it's UAT, and then you guys can pop over into UAT and have a look. Now give us a few days, let us get it in there and test it on our side too. So, but we'll let you guys know. And then Aaron, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the screen directly after this one, after you check a couple recs and then assign buyer, because I think we moved over after this one. Yeah. So that's not changing at all. We're not going to be able to see the total.
No, not at this point. Not in here.
Okay. So may there be a discussion in the future about adding some things? Because it's hard to assign orders without knowing the total, the requester. Well, I guess only those two things would be very helpful.
Let me see if we have any flexibility there. But yeah, I think for sure, if it's something that needs to be decided at this point as well, then what would be on here? The amount.
Yeah, the amount and the requester would be very helpful. Can you have two screens open at the same time? Because we have this screen open and then the assignment queue screen open in another window. I'm wondering if we could do that.
You could, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yes,
maybe I'll recommend that to Jim.
Yeah, and I'll pop in here on that, Aaron. Since some of you lived with Legacy EVA, if you're anything like me for, many, many, many years and decades in my case, Legacy EVA was pretty nasty about having browsers and windows open and things like that.
Yes, yes.
This platform is not at all. Does not get angry with that at all. So you can have, within production, a contract open, a requisition open, a sourcing project open, and it really doesn't care. I don't know what magic wizardry, I'm not smart enough to know. But it does not, the new platform does not get fussy about that. So, like you could keep the workload screen open and the PRs to be assigned screen open and then have a contract sitting open in another tab.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really played with it because I was so used to old Eva. I just didn't even try.
Oh, I mean, old habits die hard. And I mean, we used to be real strict about, oh my God, you got another window open. You're going to completely wreck your, that's just not the case in this new environment. So.
Yeah, I will say for this specific object within the solution, so you'll see that demo 11 isn't on this list because when I clicked assign, it started a process, which then moved it into my assignments in process. So I think putting something here is still going to be the best to answer your question originally. Otherwise, you'd have to come into here. The workload only shows things that have been assigned. So things that are out. So yeah, I'll have to take a look at that and see. But to Shane's point, as long as you're not in the same object trying to edit the same requisition in different tabs, trying to save, like that's the only time it gets a little fussy. But if you're looking at a bunch of different things, it's pretty nice.
Yep. Agreed. Couple more. This is really tacking away from Q Manager, but it is good to deal with. And Jennifer and Kim, Jennifer Nixon and Kim Atala from State Police have joined us today. Please clarify approvals after the buyer works the requisition, and then where there'll be approval flow after the buyer team or after the queue. That is absolutely, I know some of the IHE folks are very, very aware of this because they've also pushed for this as well. But Jennifer and Kim, you'll be happy to know that that is absolutely something that we have put in front of CGI. And John, I'm pretty sure it's you and your team that are working on the solutioning around that. And yes, that is on the table. We had kind of thought we were going to make the December 14th release for that, and and this is a good thing because we're trying to do it right and give all of our entities, everybody, the most flexibility. But we are absolutely working towards having additional approvals after the queue, and you can choose to use them or choose not to use them. And there will be the ability to, at this point, again, we're still very early in the process, the ability to, you'll be able to do custom rules after the queue. So that is in process. More to come on that as we move into 2024. And again, that enhancement right now would be slated for the end of February 24. Again, it's complex. When we sat down and kind of started thinking about that, it's easier said than done. It doesn't mean it can't be done. It's just we need time, and John and his team, to make sure we get it right. But absolutely, the good news is, this is being pursued, being actively worked, and right now that's definitely in the plans. All right. Any other questions?
I have one. Does anybody like it? Is this going to help anybody?
Yes, that
Good.
workload screen. Yes, so much.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, and I'll see what I can do about. I have a nice little laundry list here of things that I can take a look at and see if there's anything else we can fit in. Again, we'll probably spend the next week from today, tomorrow, to really shake it down and get rid of all the bugs. And then as we have time with that, I'll see if there's anything else we can fit in there. But as Shane mentioned, as part of the the work for this was really a view of the world, not changing the process of how queue management is done at this point. So anything that we don't get to, I think is kind of up for having a ticket made to get it done eventually. It's just as of right now.
Yeah, and John brings up a great point here. I mean, I know you guys, and we appreciate everybody on the call. You've been incredibly patient with us this last year as we got this new platform stood up. You know, and I know we've made tweaks and some changes here and there, but you know, we're very much committed to what we call continuous improvement. And I know that's been slow. You know, I know even, you know, you go back to our legacy environment, we tended to be a little peppier when we were making changes, but that's an environment we've been working in for 20 years. So I hope you guys are getting a little bit of the feeling that, you know, as we've crossed this year threshold, you know, we're beginning to turn a lot more strategic and being able to do some new initiatives and be able to truly get away from fixing bug after bug after bug to doing some enhancing like this. And, you know, our next couple of months, there's going to be enhancements and some improvements coming in. So I appreciate everybody and your patience as we got this thing stood up, and especially you guys around this queue management functionality. You're here. I say this all the time. It's a small block of entities that use Queue Manager. It's not like there's hundreds of you guys using Queue Manager, but the ones that do use it, your transaction volume is immense. You know, you have inordinately large transaction volumes. You know, the folks that use Queue Manager here. So you know, we very much appreciate it. I'm glad we got some really good comments, John, in the comment area about, you know, people liking what they're seeing. So, and we really appreciate the feedback and stuff today. And John, appreciate you for, you know, letting us get a chance to demo this before we're even in UAT, and add, you know, maybe a couple additional thoughts to that. So,
yeah, not a problem. Thank you, guys.
Anybody else have anything that any questions about this particular area? All right. So I've got, again, just thanks everybody for your time today. If for whatever reason we don't have a chance to talk, catch up before this meeting, or before this meeting, before we go to the forum, I know I'm going to see hopefully a good handful of you guys at the procurement forum. And I'll also let you know, John is going to be there as well. So you can go talk to John while he's there. He'll be
the really tall guy.
Yeah, he's easy to spot. So
yeah,
he's incredibly easy to spot. He kind of stands out from the crowd, as we say. But again, thanks to everybody for joining today. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate your patience. Thank you. Big thank you to John for showing us everything today. And enjoy your holidays next week if you get them. And vote early and often, and travel safe to the forum. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.